One's ready. One's ready. Go!
Hey everybody, welcome back to the One's Ready podcast. This is your daily drop for the 12th of June. Before we hop into that though, if you go to the Apple App Store, type in POSE Fitness, there's going to be an app that pops up. Here's the great thing about it is if you use the promo code One's Ready, once you set up an account, you're going to get a month free. And what this program does is it analyzes, like, you know, as you put the phone up and take pictures of your movements, squatting, pull-ups, push-ups, all that kind of good stuff. It analyzes it and tells you that you're not going down enough, or your knees are tracking inward when they need to track outward, whether your push-ups are good enough, your pull-ups are good enough, and all that kind of stuff. The IFT for Aspect War is built into that app, right? So you could essentially do the IFT and know whether or not you're going down far enough on your push-ups, or you're going up high enough on your pull-ups. So you can get that with a month free by typing in One's Ready once you set up your account and all that kind of good stuff. Also, if you need a tailor-made program for you to get where you need to be, you need to check out 18afitness.com. That's 18alphafitness.com. Use the promo code #1 and ready to get yourself a discount. Coach Edge, he has been around Aspect War for many years as a strength and conditioning coach. He was also a prior ODA officer and enlisted for that matter, and he knows what it takes to make sure you're ready for the pipeline. And he will provide scalable options for you, substitute options for you if you don't have all the equipment, and he'll tailor make that program for you. So that is 18afitness.com, promo code #1, ready to get a discount. All right, here is the joint news. Sorry I missed you guys yesterday. The day just completely got away from me, and there was way too much going on, so I couldn't break away to record this. So we'll get into it now. Joint news: National Guard could expand role in protests. Defense Secretary said the National Guard may deploy to more cities amid immigration and enforcement protests. While troops are securing federal assets, they are not directly involved in law enforcement activities. Yeah, man, that's a very polarizing topic. Number 2, or this next one rather, Air Force One jet conversion costs are withheld. Defense Secretary declined to share the cost and timeline of converting the Qatari 747 into Air Force One during the Senate testimony. He also noted a shift in an air surveillance mission away from the Air Force E-7 Wedgetail towards space-based platforms. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder... Oh, sorry, I'm trying to think through this right now because the impacts of not having an E-7. Now, granted, we don't really have an E-7 right now. We're waiting for all that stuff to get finalized and everything. But the Australians have E-7s, and we put folks on there, and they're outstanding. Like, they're great, a great platform. So I wonder how that community, that command and control community, feels about this. And obviously more details. Maybe this was just said in hyperbole or whatever, but it's that's interesting. All right, next, voluntary departure from CENTCOM authorized. In response to rising tensions between Iran and Israel, Hegseth authorized military families to voluntarily leave bases across the Middle East. Now, if you guys don't know, we do like some of these bases that are near or in CENTCOM or Central Command in the Middle East. They do have families there, even though a lot of them are deployable locations. But, you know, for some of the leadership and stuff like that, because they're going to be over there for 2 or 3 years, they're allowed to bring their families over and that kind of stuff. So the CENTCOM commander postponed a scheduled testimony due to the situation. So, all right, next. AUKUS security pact under review. I don't know what that stands for. The Defense Department is reviewing a trilateral, I'm guessing AU is probably Australia, Korea, US agreement to ensure it supports force readiness and mutual defense commitments. The review follows ongoing support for Australia's purchase of the Virginia-class submarines. Next, soldiers vetted by politics from Trump rally. At Fort Bragg, soldiers attending President Trump's rally were selected based upon political loyalty and appearance. Internal communications revealed concerns about partisan use of uniformed troops and its impact on military neutrality. I mean, say what you want, but that's pretty standard operating procedures right there. When President Biden did it, when President Obama did it, George Bush, like that's pretty standard operations right there. So I see what they're doing by this article and trying to paint it as in like, you know, oh, it's a partisan issue and stuff like that. It's really not. And maybe it is a partisan issue, but making it seem like President Trump is the only one that's done that is absolutely not true. All right, here's for Air Force news. Eielson Micro-reactor project advances. A contract was awarded to Oklahoma Inc. for a pilot nuclear microreactor at Eielson Air Force Base, Alaska. The 5-megawatt project is intended to enhance energy resilience in the Arctic conditions. Dude, I am so excited about this. Imagine this. So you could have a microreactor at a base that powers the entire base without issue. It's off grid essentially because it's being powered by that microreactor on the base. Then walk the dog a little bit more and think about how if each home had a little small microreactor and didn't have to be on the grid, didn't have to have solar and it's clean energy and all that kind of stuff. And I think it was Enron or some company like that was working on it. Like I went into a rabbit hole on YouTube because I was so excited about this. If this happens and we can do this and it's efficient, this is massive for us. All right, next, F-35 orders cut in 2026 budget. The Air Force's proposed FY26 or fiscal year 2026 budget reduces F-35 purchases by nearly half in favor of the Next Generation Air Dominance F-47 program. The E-7 Wedgetail program receives minimal funding, signaling its termination. Okay, that's the second E-7 thing in this. Now I really got to reach out to some of my command and control buddies and see what the hell's happening and what they think about it. I know they're going to be pissed. But the whole cutting F-35 thing does kind of make sense, and putting it more towards F-47, that checks. In my opinion, but what do I know? Next, Air Force Aid Society overhaul support programs. The Air Force Aid Society has launched simplified financial aid and child care support programs. Changes aim to meet the evolving needs of airmen and guardians, reducing reliance on high-interest debt. Cool. Next, hypersonic missile program faces delays. The Air Force's hypersonic attack cruise missile program is behind schedule due to design delays. A GAO, or a Government Accountability Office report, also warns of potential cost overruns, though test reductions may mitigate expenses. Yeah, that's an expensive program. And it's for sure, hey, it's a government program. For sure it's going to go over what was budgeted. No surprise there. Next, B-52 radar modernization slips to 2030. The B-52 radar upgrade program is delayed by up to 3 years following a Nunn-McCurdy breach. Despite delays, the Air Force plans to expand House Armed Service Committee. What is HACM? It must be Hypersonic Attack Cruise Missile inventories. Okay, so if you guys aren't tracking what the Nunn-McCurdy breach is, that is if you have a contract, whether it's a new building, a capability, an airplane, it has to be within, and here's where I'm going to mess up the percentage. I want to say it has to be within 33% of the cost. So yeah, it's going to run over. So if something costs $100 million, right, that's what it's contracted for. It can only go up to, if I have my percentage right, 33% above that. for unexpected costs, inflation, and stuff like that. If it goes beyond that, then it's a Nunn-McCurdy breach, and it has to go back. I think it has to be approved by Congress in order to continue to go. So that is an issue, and that is definitely going to slip till 2030, if not later. Next, South Korean F-16 crashes at Eielson Air Force Base. The KF-16 Delta crashed during takeoff at Eielson Air Force Base ahead of exercise Red Flag, Alaska. Both pilots ejected safely and were medically evaluated. Space Force news. Space intel enhanced by private partnerships. The Space Force and NGA formalized a partnership to deliver private sector space intelligence to warfighters. Requests are vetted for redundancy in commercial firms competing to provide data and analysis. Next, environmental study clears Starship operations. A draft environmental impact statement found minimal impacts from Starship launches at Cape Canaveral. Concerns remain over noise and potential disruptions to endangered species, though mitigation steps are in place. Next generation OPIR launch delayed in 2026. I don't know what OPIR stands for. Launch of the next generation missile warning system has been pushed to at least March of 2026 due to scheduling conflicts. The full constellation replacement will include satellites in polar and geosynchronous orbits. Next, supply chain challenges hit satellite mega constellation. The Pentagon's proliferated warfighter space architecture remains on schedule despite the GAO, Government Accountability Office, warnings about optical terminal shortages. What the F is a freaking optical terminal shortage? The Space Development Agency is using temporary authorities to stay on track. Next, Florida Tech launches degrees at Space Force Base. Florida Tech will offer master's programs at Patrick Space Force Base in areas like space systems and business administration. The move renews historic ties between the school and federal space efforts. All right. Next is of interest. Bipartisan criticism of the defense budget strength. Makers criticize the Pentagon's reliance on reconciliation bill to meet FY26 funding needs. Some also condemned the deployment of the National Guard troops to Los Angeles, calling it unconstitutional. Told you it's not a bipartisan, it's a pretty polarizing topic. The next one, GOP divided over Ukraine in budget hearings. Not surprised there. Senate Republicans clashed over Ukraine funding during budget testimony. Hegseth emphasized peace as a priority, while critics warned of consequences of insufficient support. Next, Golden Dome caucus forms despite rift. A new congressional caucus was formed to advocate for Golden Dome missile defense initiative. Despite internal disputes over Space Command, leaders emphasize urgency in meeting development goals. That means that they recognize the vulnerabilities that we have there, in my opinion. North Korea nuclear activity increases. The IAEA reported signs of a new construction and uranium enrichment in North Korea's Yongbyon complex. Activity raises concerns about future nuclear tests and continued sanction violations. You know he's going to do it. And if he gets a nuke, I mean, it's only a matter of time before he does. And then we'll see what happens there. I don't know that he'll actually use it. Like, he's a crazy ass dude, but I don't know that he will absolutely use it. But we'll see. All right. These next three are additions. They are op-eds. 4 keys to space superiority. A defense industry executive argues the Space Force must prioritize. You guys don't need to know these. Especially if I'm not even going to the actual article, like, what point does it matter? So that's it for the news. This has been your daily drop for the 12th of June. Appreciate you guys being here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a thumbs up, all that kind of good stuff. Leave us a comment, and happy you're here. Later.